Hey everyone, this is Haley from Cartoon Universe, and today I'm going to be talking about something really cool from one of my favorite currently airing cartoons, Star vs. the Forces of Evil. We are finally able to make another big theory for this show after so much time. And even more amazing is that this theory is about one of my favorite characters of the show, Toffee. I'm going to be talking about his connection to the butterfly family some more, and more specifically, Star Butterfly. Before I go any further, I should say that you need to watch Into the Wand to understand this theory. Leave now if you don't want any spoilers. So, to start things off, as I said in my video from 6 months ago discussing Toffee's past, we do know that Toffee has a connection to the butterfly family, despite never meeting Star prior to storming the castle. That means he probably had some connection to Star's mother, Queen Moon, or one of the past queens of Mewni. One of the guesses I made back then with how he lost his finger was that Queen Moon used a very powerful spell to destroy his finger permanently. This is now quite true, and it seems that Toffee was an immortal monster who was cursed when Queen Moon used the darkest spell on him. While his finger is still around, he is unable to regrow it. And in this episode, we learn so much more about him, and that he has a much more direct connection to Star's family than previously guessed. To summarize a bit, in this episode, Star journeys into her wand as the title suggests. We learn that the wand is actually an extension of her memories, which brings her to a place called the Grammar Room. Throughout this room, there are murals depicting each of the previous queens of Mewni, and by extension, past holders of the wands. We'll be making a dedicated video analyzing each of these murals, but there is one in particular that stood out in this episode that could have a direct connection to Toffee. And no, I'm not referring to the one that Toffee was actually in. One of the queens we learn about is Eclipsa, the Queen of Darkness. But it isn't explicitly stated what her relation to Star exactly is. She could be her grandmother, or she could be a much older ancestor. I'm sure time will tell. But her description reads, Eclipsa, Queen of Mewni, to a Mewman king was wed, but took a monster for her love, and away from Mewni fled. So it seems like Eclipsa was a true rebel, and probably practiced dark magic, given her title as the Queen of Darkness, as well as her appearance of a witch. But how does this all relate to Toffee? Could it be possible that Toffee is actually the child of Eclipsa, and the monster she ran away with? Seems like a shot in the dark, right? Well, there's actually some very compelling evidence for this case. Let's start off with some basic evidence. Toffee has black hair much like Eclipsa, and is extremely smart, unlike pretty much every other monster encountered. On top of that, the monster in the mural actually has a ring on his ring finger, which happens to be the same finger Toffee lost. But perhaps the biggest piece of evidence is that when Star is grabbing the finger, we see flashes of a number of images. One of these flashes is Toffee's face, but right after is a flash of none other than Eclipsa. Surely this must be indicating a connection between the two. It's possible that if Eclipsa was indeed practicing dark magic, that she figured out a way to make her son Toffee immortal. So this means that if Queen Eclipsa was Queen Moon's mother, like we said as a possibility, then Toffee is Queen Moon's half-brother. Which, if true, would be amazing and could mean a lot more for the show. Of course, there is some evidence against this theory already. Most notably, the monster we've been claiming to be Toffee's father looks nothing like Toffee. The only similarities at this point are his hands and that he is a monster. As I said before, Toffee looks much more like Rastakor, who definitely acts more like a normal monster, and may have also been fighting in the Great Monster Massacre, as shown in the corner of the tapestry. It is possible that Toffee's appearance could have changed somehow, although the scene displayed in the tapestry was right from when he was getting cursed, so I do not think he ever looked any different. Now, while it's possible that Toffee isn't actually Eclipsa's son, it actually fits another popular theory quite perfectly. Remember the theory about Marco's destiny, and how he may actually be part monster and fight for the monsters in the future? Well, if this theory is true, it would make sense that Toffee is also part monster, much like Marco, and there's even a bit of foreshadowing in the mural itself. As stated before, Eclipsa was clearly a rebel in the face of Mewni. Remind you of someone? That's right, Star has never really been one for Mewni's rules, and seems to not be looking forward to being queen. Well, if this Marco and Toffee connection is true, then Eclipsa's decision to run away to take a monster as her love could be signifying Star's future actions to take Marco, who's presumed to be part monster, as her love in the Earth dimension. Finally, I should mention that after this episode, it seems that the way people believe how he'll come back might just be true. This means that he could regenerate his whole body from just the missing finger. After all, he was cursed, which brings in a lot more possibilities, and could mean that he has powers no other beings do. But it is strange to see that his missing finger was inside the wand this whole time, begging the question of how it got there. It would make no sense if Queen Moon put it in there herself. If this finger plus the whispering spell would cause the wand to become corrupted, then it'd be a huge mistake on her part. There is the chance that Toffee put it in there himself. He must have done it when Queen Moon was in possession of it, because for some reason he would not touch the wand and storm the castle. This could tie back into him being Eclipse's son. The fact that he knew the whispering spell, and is presumably able to direct Ludo, shows that he has a clear knowledge of magic, which he could easily have learned from Eclipsa. The whispering spell is especially interesting here, since he prefaced Star with it by saying, "It's the first spell your mother taught you." Why else would he know that if his own mother didn't teach him the very same thing, or at least tell him about it? Yes, he was seen reading a book on the wand in Independence Day, but that is very specific knowledge, and I would be surprised if information that potentially deadly would be written down in that way. So it is possible that Toffee figured out a way to put his finger inside the wand via magic, but there's no way to know for sure at this point. And with that, I've said pretty much everything that can be said about this theory as of now. This theory really adds a whole new level of complexity to the show, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Look forward to seeing more Star vs. videos as new episodes air in the upcoming weeks. Also, if you want to, feel free to check out our older theories for this show. With this new episode, things are a bit outdated, but there may still be some truth in them. Also, as always, thank you Patreon supporters. To get a shout out plus a ton of other awesome rewards, become a patron. And as I always say, thanks for watching!